BYU 2-0 as a starter. He's an analyst on tomorrow's game. He's the co-host of Brock and Salk in Seattle radio. I love that show. ESPN's Brock Huard now joins us on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. Brock, welcome back to the program. I think you joined us 5 years ago, so welcome back.
Well, we got to do this more often then. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I enjoyed playing BYU, though. Rob Morris, we ran a QB draw. I'll never forget this. Did you guys hear the Sean McVay bit, the coach for the Rams, where he remembered every play?
His recall's incredible. Yeah.
Yes, so we had a little fun yesterday on my show out in Seattle, recalling the 5 picks I threw against Wazoo in the Apple Cup, and I remembered every one of those things 22 years later. But I definitely remember running QB draw at the end of the game at home, kind of an ugly game for us against BYU, and Rob Morris stuck his helmet and shattered my thigh pad, and I had the worst thigh bruise. I thought I could juke him. I don't know what I was thinking, but I had the worst thigh bruise. It drained into my hip. I had to get 100 cc's drained from my hip. So, yeah, I've got vivid memories of those BYU battles as well.
Came out with the win, but we're worse for the wear. My goodness. Let's jump right into it with BYU and Wisconsin. You're on the call tomorrow on ABC. What do you think of this matchup with a BYU team who struggled and lost against Cal, and then Wisconsin with big expectations?
Yeah, well, I'm sitting actually here in Wisconsin in their meeting room. We were watching a bunch of film as a crew, and I snuck out of there, and I'm sitting in the O-line room right now at Wisconsin. And I'll tell you what, looking at the number of Badgers O-linemen, they've got a whole wall of pictures here of all their guys that are in the NFL. They've got all their All-Americans on the other side. This is the best offensive line in college football. Oregon's got a good one. Boston College has got a good one. Alabama's obviously Alabama, and some in Auburn and Washington got some good ones. But this Wisconsin crew. Their right tackle will probably be a first-round pick. Their right guard will be drafted in the first 3 rounds. Their left guard will be a late pick and play in the league for a while. Left tackle's a little injured. They've got a young kid that's super talented but raw. I mean, they've got just dudes up front, and then a true Heisman contender in Taylor at tailback. So that's the crew that's going to have to carry this Wisconsin team. They're not as loaded as they have been defensively. I love what BYU is doing offensively. That's probably, just from a broadcast standpoint, the most encouraging thing to think that this game will be different than what the odds makers are saying is the creativity of some of BYU's offense and some of really the inexperience and lack of some speed for Wisconsin defensively. So BYU is going to have to score some points tomorrow because Jonathan Taylor in this O-line is as good as any in college football. But I think it's going to be closer than what the experts are saying.
Brock, you mentioned the creativity. What else do you see, and what do you like about this BYU offense?
Yeah, I like their group up front too. I think Tristan Hodge, the right guard, is very good. I like the move of sliding Schoaf into left guard. I think that kind of hides a little bit of his limitations and promotes some of his strengths. 2 tackles can play. Love the tight ends. And just the concept, we had BYU LSU in the opener last year. I don't think the Cougars crossed the 50-yard line, and that was one of the tougher games that I've had to call in a while because you just sat there and went, man, they don't have any answers. There's nothing they can go to, and I'm sure you guys felt that way at times in a 4-9 season last year. We're like, where are some answers? Where can we do something? Because we're just lining up and just getting whacked here, and there's really no answer. So I love the multiplicity with their tight ends. That helps you an awful lot. The screen game, the fly sweep game. The big challenge is you just don't have that home run hitter. So kind of like offenses in Major League Baseball, they got to put, a lot of hits together, play small ball. That's a little bit of what this offense, if they just had one guy that, created that real sense of fear, it would help, I think, open things up. But as it is, they're going to have to, they're going to have to sustain drives. They're going to have to do what they've done these first few weeks, spread the ball around, especially against Arizona. Had a lot more success with that, and it's going to take everybody on that offensive side of the ball.
We're talking to Brock Huard, college football analyst for ESPN. Who is the Nelson Cruz is the real question, right? But I want to ask you about what you said. You think this game's going to be closer than what people think. Why is that?
Yeah, I think because of some of the answers that BYU has there. So what I just kind of laid out there, Tanner knows ball. And I feel a guy, and I'm watching a guy that looks different than he did a year ago. Even in that opener against Portland State last year and then the LSU game, I just watched a guy that just, to me, felt like he didn't have solutions out there. And that's a horrible place to be as a quarterback. I was there my final year of college, frankly, where I took a snap. I'm like, I don't really, other than my buddy Dane Looker, I don't really know what I got here. And I don't feel great about some of these other places. I don't have a lot of trust in the people around me. And I watched Tanner almost from just an execution, a body language, some confidence that I think he likes having just a lot more to work with, a lot more offense here for him to dictate and to handle, having that screen game and having tight ends that he can get the ball to. And obviously, his connection with Bushman is a good one, and it's fun to see Maroney come on the scene and those two work in tandem. So that's why I think tomorrow, and on top of it, Wisconsin loses 7 people defensively. They've converted an offensive lineman to DN. They have no depth on their defensive line. They've got new people in their secondary that are just trying to do the right thing rather than just big-time playmakers. So I think there's opportunities there for BYU offensively to stay on the field, to control some of the ball, to shorten some of this game, and keep it closer than the 21 points that some of the experts think this advantage is.
Camp Randall is one of those places that everybody in college football knows about. Can you kind of explain just the atmosphere and what people will experience when they tune into this game tomorrow? It's truly one of the great places to watch a football game.
Yeah, it really is. It's cool. I was here a few years back, the first time, Wisconsin, Iowa, and I think the game took an hour and 45 minutes. I mean, both teams ran the ball. There was none of this tempo. It was like, oh, my gosh, what is a huddle? Who does this in college football anymore? But I remember stepping out at halftime of the broadcast booth and the press box and just looking out to this sea of 85,000 people that simply love their football. And it's the same thing for me last week in Nebraska. Probably my favorite spot in college football to go. 92,000. They've sold out since 1960. They love their football. And I think whether you're a BYU fan that's traveling here tomorrow for the first time or you're going to watch it on ABC, you will get that sense. It permeates through the broadcast. You feel it in the building. They know what good football is. Obviously, as I said, we were just watching tape. And I said, there's a lot of debate. Nick Saban says that football is not a continuous sport. There's been debate about all this tempo. Is it good for the game or bad for the game? But the beauty of this one tomorrow and the beauty of Wisconsin football is they know what they are. They dominate the line of scrimmage. They don't want to just block you, this offensive line. They want to punish you. And there's a beauty of that. That's the essence to me of this game, what it was 100 years ago. You got to win the line. You got to dominate your people there. And certainly that's what BYU will be tackling tomorrow.
Well, Brock, we appreciate the time. If we had more time, we'd talk about what happened to the Mariners and when the Seahawks will get an offensive line, but we don't have time for that. BYU in Wisconsin tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. We appreciate the time, Brock.
Yeah, we'll do that in 5 years, okay? We'll catch up in 5 years, and we'll be talking about it then.
Thanks, Brock.
All right, guys.
That's Brock Huard of ESPN. You can listen to him on ABC tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern. Join us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.